Hello, everybody. I'm Steven,
Hello everybody, I'm Rizwan.
and we're Cardboard Coalition. Today, we figured we'd bring you a review of Cascadia by Flatout Games and AEG. They're partnered for distributing stuff, I believe. Um, but we just figured we'd kind of give you a review and talk about what we thought about the game. We've played it now 5 times, I think, with filming the playthrough. We've played it 5 times, and I have won all of 0 times. And when we played it the other night just to play it, I almost won but didn't. I lost by 1 point. I can't seem to win this game. But with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the review. So let's start off with the theme. So the theme of this game is nature, right? So what you're doing is you're putting together ecosystems and animals. You're trying to match them up and build the best ecosystem, right? So the best kind of habitat and animals put together to get the best ecosystem. That's basically how the game plays. It takes about 30 minutes. I'm going to glance at the box. It says 30 to 45. It can play up to 4 players. We've played it with two, just Resvon and I every time, and it's for ages 10 plus. I do want to get this out to at least one of my gaming groups that I can think of that I think would enjoy this. And there's a game night actually coming up where it's a more casual gaming group, and I think they'll really enjoy this. But I mean, we'll see. That's in the future. But so the theme of the game is about building that perfect ecosystem, right? And if you're a fan of hiking, camping, being outdoors, animals, if you're a fan of any of that, I think this game can be right up your alley. What do you think about the theme, Resvon? The what it's about, like the nature and all that.
Um, it's so good if you know about how you want to make everything together. It make so busy your mind, and I like these things, and I like it. It's one of my favorite games.
Yeah, so Resvon really likes the game. She's talking a little bit about the mechanics. Do you like, but the theme, my love? So what it shows, like being out in nature, being out in the woods. She likes to call it jungle. Being around animals, seeing animals. Do you like that theme? That it's animals and in nature and stuff like that.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah. Um, and it's the Cascadia region. That's what they base it off of. The animals that are in this game are from that region. The regions or the habitats that you put together are from the Cascadia region. I spent a couple years living up in the Pacific Northwest, right? And so it definitely has that feel. So the theme is there. The theme is fun. So we'll jump into mechanics in a second, but player count. So it plays 1 to 4. I was just thinking about it. There's really no way to play more. I think maybe you could if you got another copy of the game, but it plays 1 to 4, so you can't play it with the big group, but you can, that average size group. And what we've started to learn, or I've started to learn as time goes on, 4 to 5 is probably about the average group size. I tend to invite everybody, but still, this would be a fun game if I have 4 people to play with. Definitely one I'd want to play. So player count is pretty good. Would you like to be able to play this with more than 4 people, Resvon?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's will be so good. I really want to play. It's a funny game, and it's one of that game I really want to play with other people too. 4 people. I want to try with 4 people.
Oh yeah, you want to try it with 4 people? Yeah, me too. Mostly because I think maybe Reswan won't win every time, and there'll be more tiles and tokens taken to give me a chance to win. But the player count's good. I enjoy the player count. Some people don't like big game groups, so the 1 to 4 works. Um, and then the mechanics of the game. So how the game works is and if you haven't seen, we did a video on a playthrough. You can watch that. We'll probably put it in the end card. And we did a how to play. You can watch that. But you're drafting these sets, right, of a habitat tile and nature token, and then you're putting them down. The token could go anywhere you want as long as it shows the animal on the tile, and the tile can go anywhere you want to put it. But while you're doing that, you're trying to do specific um, groupings. Sometimes they're not groupings, sometimes they're just lines. But you have these scoring cards that kind of tell you how to put it together, right? How to put this is C, you can have one, you can have lines of them, and so on and so forth. So you're trying to kind of place your tiles where you want the animals and trying to build those habitats larger and larger because the person with the largest habitat scores extra points, and you score points for large habitats and things like that. So you have lots of things that you can think through as you're trying to go through this. There's drafting, I think Resvon really likes the tile laying, and what tile laying is literally taking one of these tiles, right, and putting it down. And this is a bad choice because if I would have taken that tile, I would have also gotten the salmon and put it down. But it's tile laying. I was trying to match two habitats together. But there's that aspect of tile laying. Then you would put a new one down. And I don't know. I'm just doing this for show for you guys. Oh, nice. And it's a different animal. What fun. Right? So there's that puzzle that's going on. How you place things. What things you want to take. And there is an ability to change up that normal kind of work through. So you have these nature tokens over here, and you can spend them either to wipe out all, not wipe out, that sounds mean, to adjust all the animal tokens at the bottom so you can get rid of as many as you want and replace them. Or you can spend one of these nature tokens to pick a tile and a separate animal token and take that. So there is some ways to kind of go around the basic mechanics to try to get a better run. And then of course there's the overpopulation, which if you watch the playthrough or if you watched the how to play, you would see how you deal with overpopulation, which is getting rid of all the extra ones and putting different tokens down. So the mechanics gives you a puzzle feel. And I think that's why I like it, even though I keep losing. I do like trying to put that puzzle together, and I feel like I do a really good job. It's just Resvon's much better at doing it. So the mechanics definitely bring you into, right? How it plays. So even if nature, you're not always out in nature, which would maybe bring you towards this game, the mechanics too could bring you towards the game with putting the things together and trying to figure out that perfect puzzle. And especially when you're starting to get low on these tiles, because once they run out, then the game's over. You start trying to figure out, okay, I need to finish this one grouping, or I need to have these two hawks across from each other. I need one more hawk, and you're hoping that comes out. And then as Resvon and I go through, one person takes that tile and that token you really wanted that you were waiting for. Right? And you're like, ah, right? So the mechanics are definitely fun. Do you want to say anything else about the mechanics, Resvon, like how the game works?
It have a lot of things for think about that. You must focus about everything, and it's so funny for me because the rules are so easy, but you must think about everything, and they make it so good. It's have a good mechanic. I like it.
Yeah, so you always have 5 animals, and the game comes with the core box comes with 4 different versions of each animal. So 4 different versions or grouping or scoring, however you want to look at it. And then there's a family and an intermediate one where it's just trying to get animals kind of grouped together, and it doesn't matter what the animals are. You're just trying to group animals together, get them next to each other on tiles. So technically 5 or 6 because there's the family intermediate, which is just 2 sides of a card, and then there's these specific cards. But you always have 5 animal cards in front of you, and they're always different animals. And you got to think about what you're doing. The last game we played, I tried to push hawks really, really hard, or the red-tailed hawk. I had to glance down at it because these are the specific animals. Tried to do the hawks, and I think I don't know. I tried pretty hard. If I could have got a couple more hawks, man, that would have been good. But like I said, Rezwan barely beat me out. But you can focus on one animal, two animals. You might notice that you're focusing on one, and you have the setup for the next animal. I know with me, I kind of scattershot it. Is I'm focused on one animal, but if I see the opportunity to start building other animals, I try to start building them up too. It's just kind of how I go about doing it. So you definitely have a variety of things to think about. Do you want to get the bear, depending on what groupings are, the bear groupings, the elk groupings, the salmon, most of them are all runs, the hawk pairings or by themselves, the fox groupings or pairings, right? It all depends. So you have a lot of different ways to think, and you're also thinking about how you put these habitat tokens down. It's got a mountain and a river. Where else can I put a mountain and a river? Or a prairie and a wetland. How can I set another prairie and wetland up to make those areas the biggest? Because I know I want those points at the end too. So you definitely have that, and you, like I said, you have the nature tokens to kind of adjust what you pick and things like that. All right. Then the other thing, I think Resvon still doesn't, because she, like we've said before, she's playing remotely because she's still in Tehran right now. Eventually, hopefully soon, she'll be here. But she might not completely understand money conversion. So this game, I believe, is $29.99. I think that's going to be the MSRP. I got it. We kickstarted it, so we got it there. We got a couple extra wildlife cards for kickstarting it. But at $30, 30, I think this, and I'm saying that for Reswan, the 30 dollars, I think this is a pretty good game for what you're paying. I would even say at $40, it's still a pretty good game because there is replayability. Though Resvan and I have almost gone through all the card sets, we haven't gotten close to all the combinations, right? We haven't done the Kickstarter cards, and so really doesn't matter. But we haven't gone through any of the combinations because you don't have to do like all card A, all card B, all card C, all card D, which we have done so far. You can shuffle them up and just put down the different ones, right? Take all the different ones, shuffle them up, and go through the deck. Okay, here's the first bear, here's the first elk, here's the first salmon, here's the first hawk, here's the first fox, and play that way. Then you might have like a B, D, C, A, D, something like that. That'll mix it up. Then with the tiles, there's enough to play 4 people, which is 20 tiles. Each person gets to lay down 20 tiles. That's how the game works. And then there's 3 tiles left over. Because once you pick up a tile and you can't replace it, that's the end of the game. So there's some variety, especially with 2 players, 3 players. You're gonna have more shuffle. At the 4 player, you don't have as much variety in the tiles because you're playing with the 80 tiles. Yep, 80 tiles plus 3. Right? There's 2 extra tiles that might mix it up a little bit. And then when it comes, you have a starting habitat, which you might not be able to see, but it's these 3. A starting habitat tile, there's 5 of them in the box. So with the 2 player, you get a lot of variety. 3 player, a little bit less. 4 player, there's only that extra 1, so a little bit less. But there's definitely variety in playing this game. And how you set up everything gives you variety. Where you decide to put things, you're not always gonna get the same tile. You can't always put it in the same way. You know that there's certain tiles. You might get used to knowing that there's certain tiles, but you don't know when they're gonna come up, if the other person's gonna take them. So there is a good amount of variety for a game that's, I believe, $30 and between $9.99 MSRP, or is because it's out now, or even at $39.99. It's still, I think, a good priced game. So with that said, is there anything else that you want to say about the game, Rizvan?
I want to say that it's not going to normal for me. I don't know, maybe it's just my feeling about that, but this game not over. Again, you can play, you can change it. It's so good if someone spend money for this game. It's not going to be normal for that. That they can play a lot of models with that, and it's the good point for this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of variety, a lot of different ways to play. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Last night when we were playing it, Resvon had asked me if it's all done, and I thought she was saying like now you don't play the game anymore because we've played the all. We got to the D set of cards, and I was trying to explain to her, no. Well, I thought she was saying she's done playing the game. And I was trying to say, oh, but there's variety, and it'll be different every time she plays. And she had explained to me she wasn't saying the game's done. She just wanted to know if we've gone through um, at least the basic content, right? We've been able to play all the different combinations, which we still haven't because we got the Kickstarter. But we've played through everything in the base set. But we haven't mixed things up yet. We haven't changed the different cards that we're going to use because you get 4 of each. So I don't know math, but do the combination, right? 4 of each card, and then you also, if you really want to, I feel like I need to do that because I might win that way. Is play the family, which is kind of like starter minus a little bit because it's just groupings, or the intermediate that's a little bit harder before you get into this. So there's also those versions we can play. So there are still a couple versions without even just shuffling everything up. So yeah. So for $30 or $40, do you think it's a good price for the game?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so good. I
um,
don't know a lot about $30. How much is it? I know the numbers. I don't know it's a lot or no, cheap or expensive, but I know it worked a lot for us, and I think it's really good.
yeah, we definitely enjoy playing it. 30 to $40 is about mid because games will get up to 100 or so, down to $10, $15. So it's about mid range, maybe a little bit under. I would say that it's actually a little bit under mid range, the middle ground for price. But just so you guys understand, like we've said multiple times, Rezvan's in Iran right now, so $30 US. How much Toman would that be, right? Toman?
It's a lot.
Pro-
$1 in Iran, Toman 25,000.
25,000. So $1, 25,000. So if you're watching, you could do the math. So expensive. But just to point out, so she's just still trying to understand. So when we talk about the value that you get out of the game, because I am also about value in a game. It's a little bit harder for her to go through and understand it until she gets here and starts getting a grasp and starts buying things here in the States, and then she'll understand, I think, a little bit more. All right, so would you play this game again, Rezvan?
Exactly, yes.
So she would play it again. I would also play this game again if someone asked, hey, do you want to play Cascadia? Or if they asked me to bring it out for game night, or bring it over to someone's house to play, I would gladly do it. Would you ask to play it again? Would you ask me, let's play Cascadia?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Exactly. And I hope one day we can play with all the
Tiles,
that
all these.
toys. I want to try. I know it's so going to be so hard for read how much point, but I hope one day I can play with all the tiles.
Mm-hmm.
Two people all the time. I want to make big plan. It's so easy for me. I'm sorry, I want to tell this. It's so easy for me because I'm architect and I know about make plan, paint plan, and it's so good for me. And one of my hobbies, make puzzle about the tiles. When I want to rotate them and I will put them together, the mountain together, the jungle together, everything together. It helped me because I like make puzzle. It's helped me about that, and I can make everything together, the models together. It's about because I'm so good in make paint plan in an architect, and it's so helped me in this.
Yeah, Resval wants to play with the two of us with all the tiles. I just haven't done it yet because I wanted to get at least a 3 or 4 or 5, and we got 5 in playthroughs before we kind of gave a review of the game. So we at least have a general knowledge of the game. So yeah, I think it would be fun. It'll take a little bit longer. I think Resvan will just win by 100 points more at that point. But it's definitely a way to go. And I too would ask to play this game again. I've been asking lately because I want to do the review and stuff, but I also enjoy it. Even though I keep losing, I also enjoy the game, the puzzle of everything. So, and just once again to say, the reason I do the would you play it again, would you ask to play it again, I think it's better, and we've talked about this, Resvon and I, a little bit, it's better than giving it a score, right? Saying it's a 5 out of 10 or it's a 9 out of 10 or it's, whatever, because the scores change if you watch any other, and if you're watching this video, you might watch other game videos, board gaming, hobby videos. And if the channel's been around long enough, they're starting to do this, like, what did I score it back then and why it changed now? I think it's better just tell you guys things that we like about it. You can decide if you like that stuff or not. And things we don't like, you can decide if you like that or not. And then if we would play it, if someone asked, which is, would you play it again? And then would you ask to play it? And in my view, if you're going to ask to play it, you probably like the game a little more than just like, yeah, I'll play that game again. And everybody will get really mad at me, but Ticket to Ride. I've played it once. Would I play it again if someone asked? Yes. Would I ask to play it? I'm kind of on the fence about it. Kind of on the fence. And a little bit of theme and things like that's the reason. The game mechanics are really fun. But that's the kind of idea. Would I play it again? Yes. And then would I ask to play it? With Cascadia, yes, I'd play it again. And I would ask people if they want to play it. So they're both there. And on that note, which I don't really want to end with negative, but just kind of popped in my mind. Things that someone might not like as much is I would have liked to seen a lot more tiles for more variety in a 4-player game. But for the cost, that's kind of the thing. At the cost, I think you're getting a good package. Though I'd like to see at least maybe 20 more tiles, right? To be able to mix the tiles up a little bit more. But it's kind of a minor qualm about it, a minor problem. But I want to end it on a positive note. Resvan and I would both play the game again. Bele?
Vale.
Means yes. I'm in Persian. And Resvan and I would both ask to play the game again. I'm sure Resvan's going to ask me to play it again. I'm going to ask to play it again. Especially if she remembers we have a lot of games and she doesn't always get to see them. I just ask, do you want to play a game? And then we go from there. But I'm sure Resvan's going to ask to play this again. So overall, we really enjoyed the game, right? I really enjoyed the game. I feel like Resvan really enjoys it. Is there anything else you want to add, Resvan?
Oh no, it's have a good rules. I like it. I like it. No, I don't have anything. You say everything, my love.
I know, I keep saying everything. And so that's our review of Cascadia by Flatout Games in AEG, in partnership with AEG. My name's Steven.
My name is Rizwan.
And we're Cardboard Coalition. See you later, everybody.
Bye bye.
Did you forget to say bye-bye there for a second?